think we're on.
Fantastic. It's a nice little tune you have there.
Working on it.
Yeah.
We printed this, actually, on our older Airwolf printer.
Nice. It's pretty awesome. Loving the BJB logo.
It's PLA, and this is actually polycarbonate.
Oh, nice and strong.
And then I bought these on like Amazon right here. These are pretty nifty.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't use the 3D printed ones because they were pretty bad.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But this should be a show and tell thing, but I should mention that I put it together with the adhesives that BJB is working on.
Fantastic.
So we got stuff to glue in together.
Everybody likes a good glue.
I wish we had an intro song though.
I do too.
This whole thing really needs an intro
We
song.
should work on that.
We should.
Maybe a Christmas song for the Christmas episode?
Yeah, it's a little too soon for that. But,
I know. We're getting there.
We should. We need some suggestions. What Christmas song or holiday song, whatever you want to, do. But I know a couple.
A classic like Rudolph or something?
Rudolph would be good. Rudolph. We got the decor going.
I know. I had to start it. I didn't want to go full out and do like the tree or anything yet until that Christmas episode, but I had to get in the spirit.
It's fine. We're in December. You're allowed to start putting it up when people are putting it up right after Halloween. It's too early.
Before Halloween even?
Yeah.
Preston Marketplace? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's unnecessary.
Sad.
We need to like have Thanksgiving, enjoy that, and then boom, it's full time.
I agree.
Holiday, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you got going, but it's the season.
Agreed.
Yeah. So all right, well we're back and we're live, and we got some cool stuff, and our last video went over pretty well. I think all of our technical issues are gone. We've got sound. I'm checking it now. Yeah, so we're looking good. We got wireless mics today, so if you hear anything funky, let us know. But I think everything's good to go.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again for joining us on episode 2 of Foaming at the Mouth Friday Live. And I'm Haley Detroit here with Troy BJB Peterson. And we are going to, start off with, I think, some tech topics.
We've got some tech topics, yeah.
Now that we're rounding the winter season.
Yeah. Yeah, so I know we're in California, and we can't complain because our weather's pretty good.
Yeah.
Ironically, it's blowing like 40 miles an hour outside.
It is super windy today.
Windy, it's chilly, so the chill factor is kind of up there, but it's cold.
Yeah.
You need a jacket outside and everything. But, when it starts hitting this time of the year, we start getting a lot of calls from customers and addressing issues about shipping materials during cold weather, because although things are moderate here in Menominee, Wisconsin, or somewhere back east, or in Colorado. I know Colorado just got slammed with a bunch of snow. So as these materials leave here, they might go through some pretty nasty weather. We've written some newsletters. We've put it on the website, some different things about cold weather, but we'll bring it up again because it's a really good topic of discussion based on we're just about to get into the throes of winter and snowstorms and everything. So definitely, there's a lot of stuff to kind of be aware of, and I still talk to a lot of customers, and actually just this week I was talking to a customer, ironically in Florida, who they have sort of transitioned to modest temperatures during the day, but at night obviously temperatures in shops are getting down kind of low, and so these two-part systems are what they refer to as thermoset. Okay, that basically means that they're the component of heat in the catalyzation or the process of curing with these systems. So the temperature, the ambient temperature, the liquid temperature, the mold temperature, all play a factor into it. So when you look at like data sheets and it says say a 5-minute working time, usually there's a little caveat there. It says at 77 degrees. Well, if it's 60 degrees or 90 degrees, then that number can change. And the same thing, especially with the demold time. Demold time might be rated at an hour or 2 hours or whatever. Once again, that's at like 77F is kind of what we, or about 25 degrees centigrade. That's basically we run a standard for that. But temperature 10 degrees up or down can make a big difference. So to give you an example, a guy in Florida was running some parts, and it seemed like it was taking longer to demold than normal. And so we were kind of going through the process of elimination to figure out what was going on. The molds were being pre-warmed, but as they sat in a pressure tank, there was nothing on the pressure tank to keep it from cooling down from ambient temperature, especially in the morning. And then also, too, the buckets that you're pouring from, although, the temperature right now in this room is pretty decent, 75. It's well insulated. We've got probably some heaters on or something like that. But anyway, that doesn't mean that the liquid in a big mass is going to come up to temperature quickly.
Yeah.
In fact, it can take a couple hours for that stuff to come up. And so what are you going to do? You have to sort of be mindful of that. Stepping back just a little bit more, because I want to go into a little bit more on how to maybe deal with the processing of it if the temperatures are cold in either the mold or a liquid material. But let's go back to the shipping thing, because we ship a lot of materials. They go all over the place, all over the country, all over the world. And sometimes things will show up. We've heard stories of, actually it happens fairly often, is, it goes through a non-heated, maybe a UPS truck or something, and it literally could show up at the dock of one of our customers, just a frozen brick, just so cold. It could be negative, negative temperatures, just freezing cold. And so now, 9 times out of 10, if that condition happens, usually we can, the material usually comes back just fine. Sometimes it does it on its own at kind of more of a room temperature, or more of a modest room temperature. They bring it in the shop. They've got a little kind of a warmer area for it, and it just comes back to liquid. But there's sometimes where we can have what's called chemical freezing. And chemical freezing is interesting because water freezes at basically 30 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 degrees Celsius. And chemical freezing basically means that a material or liquid can freeze at different temperatures than water. So there are some systems out there that are very sensitive that can freeze at literally 60 degrees. Think of it like grease or oil from like I remember popcorn butter when I used to work at a movie theater. The popcorn butter was a solid at room temperature, and you had to warm it up. So there are some chemicals that will freeze at like 60 degrees.
Wow.
Some of those systems out there, not necessarily ours, but some of those systems out there, if they get to that temperature, they're done. They'll go through a process where you can't really revive them. Luckily, with most of BJB's materials, we sort of test them to make sure that they're not going to be that sensitive. So, however, having said that, you can still, sometimes you'll have material show up. It'll be kind of in a liquid state, but you'll look inside and it'll actually kind of look like it's kind of coagulated or almost like applesauce. That makes any sense, but it's kind of a little bit grainy. It's thick too, the viscosity is way high. And so typically what we'll recommend for people is to take that bucket and try to get a little bit of an elevated temperature on it. If it's a small gallon bucket, it's pretty easy to do. If it's a 5-gallon bucket, sometimes you gotta, that might be a little bit more difficult. But usually we try to say, bring the temperature up to about 110, 120 degrees Fahrenheit for a few hours. Especially if it's in a 5-gallon bucket, it's going to take a little while to get warm. And then usually once that temperature comes up, then you take it, you can either mix it up really good, like shake the bucket, kind of reconstitute, hopefully things will reblend really good. Or, if it's a bucket, you can get in there and stir. That works as well. But you don't want to use the material if it's in that state. If it's looking weird, if you're visually looking in there and it looks like thick, it has like a grainy appearance to it.
It's looking like we need to turn up the volume here. I just got a little note.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Let's see. Where?
It was actually from Mike, but he just peeked in.
Oh, okay. Give me 2 seconds.
Turning up the volume. Sorry about that.
All right. How's that?
Hopefully that helped.
I can also adjust the volume a little bit right here. So hopefully. All right. So let's see if that works. Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, of course.
Good stuff. So like I said, you don't want to use the material if it's in that state, or maybe if you suspect the material has, seen some cold temperatures. And if you do use the material, I mean, it's not all is lost. You'll probably end up with a part that's not going to cure real well. But basically, definitely don't just continue to make parts out of that material. So chemical freezing, you got to be careful of that. And then obviously, the storage. So we'll switch gears a little bit, and we'll talk about the storage. And that is basically, it's good to think about where your materials are going to be stored. If they're stored in an open warehouse that's not insulated, or there's no temperature control, then obviously materials may see some temperature sitting on the shelf. One recommendation that we normally tell people, think about a concrete floor. And when you put your hand on a concrete floor and you can feel how cold that is, and if you take a 5-gallon bucket or a gallon bucket and you set it on there, it's going to just suck any temperature, it's going to suck any heat energy out of that material into the cold concrete. And so then you go to pick it up and use it, and the ambient temperatures seem okay, but that concrete floor was so cold, it's like a heat sink. So we usually recommend, especially if you have a large amount of material or larger buckets, to get that bucket off the floor a little bit. Sometimes people will just store them on pallets. Sometimes people will put them onto a specific shelf or into a cabinet of some sort. But a lot of people
Can't hear anything.
They're still not hearing anything?
Apparently not.
Okay.
I'm fine. Everybody's on. Maybe he just needs to turn up the volume.
Maybe he does. Well, I've got audio. Okay. Thank you.
We can hear it just fine. So, all right. Maybe it's just.
Okay. Great. I think we have other people who just need to turn their volume up. You know why? I bet you. Because we have someone in house here who's checking on us, and I bet you their Bluetooth is on.
Oh, maybe.
And so they're probably, it's like when you go to watch a funny cat video and you don't realize that you're synced up to your like giant speaker, and then you blow everybody away with cat video.
Do you have that problem a lot watching funny cat videos?
I don't want to admit it, but yes, it happens. It happens. You leave the room and everybody was listening to music, and then you can't help it.
Yeah.
So anyway. So okay, awesome. All right, sound is good. Hey, this show is all about winging it and just kind of whatever. So, hey, and by the way, if you guys are watching, ask any questions, any tech questions you want to know, because we're always looking to obviously answer people's common questions. So, long story short, so I was going to talk about hotbox. Yeah, storage of the materials. And what a lot of people we have, customer base wise, they'll build actually what's just commonly just called a hot box, something that is not necessarily like a large industrial oven, which can be expensive. If you're in a small shop, not necessarily practical. But a lot of people build like little storage boxes, maybe under a workbench. They'll just use maybe just some cheap plywood. You could also add some of that insulated foam that you can buy at a lot of the home improvement stores, and they'll basically just build a nice little insulated box. And what you can do is, you don't have to go crazy. You can literally hang, like, depending on the volume of the box, you could hang probably like a 100-watt incandescent light bulb. Those things, if you grab them, if you've ever had to change a light bulb, it's pretty warm.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you keep that thing closed up for a couple hours, it's going to get warm in that box. And the nice thing is that, a light bulb is safe. How many times have you heard of anything going wrong really with a light bulb? We leave lights on all the time. One thing I always caution people about is people always want to run and grab the space heater because, hey, it makes some pretty good heat. You don't think much of it. You plug it in a wall. But every winter when it gets cold, we hear about people using space heaters and burning down their garages or houses. And, unfortunately, so I always steer people away from don't use something that intense if you're going to build some sort of hot box. Because ultimately, if you need that much temperature, then you're looking at getting something that's a properly built, industrial oven. But the hot box is really simple, and it can keep a nice little area at about 100 degrees Fahrenheit up to maybe like 120, 125 degrees Fahrenheit. You can put even maybe 1 or 2 bulbs, have 2 different light switches, one for a mild temperature, one for a little bit more. Okay, so people will build little boxes, and sometimes they'll build little shelves in there. One area for storing some materials, maybe another area for putting the molds. So after you cast the material, It goes back into this warm box, and then whatever's happening in the shop, if you're all bundled up in your jacket, whatever, the temperatures in there are going to give you more consistent results. So, like I say, I always try to make sure don't discount the variable of temperature around you, because that can throw a lot of people for a loop, and they'll say everything was going along fine, and then all of a sudden I started having problems. They start looking towards a certain material, and all it really turned out to be was temperatures maybe dropped 10 degrees or whatever, and it made a big difference on their demold times, cure times of the silicone or whatever. So we always try to kind of top that one up. But let us know. I mean, we've had some people ask if, we don't have any plans. I don't have any really plans. You can go online. You can Google around a little bit. There's a lot of do-it-yourselfers that kind of have shown how to do hot boxes and stuff. But I don't know. I mean, what do you think? What are you kind of hearing on the end of hot boxes? And
I've seen some pretty good plans for them, and a lot of artists that I know have them just for that, to store their materials, to preheat their molds, to heat their molds with the material in it to help cure. Even my friend who makes the Batman cowls, he's going to be building his hot box so that he can help cure the cowls once they're casted, and then he'll put it in there to help with the curing process. So yeah, it helps out a lot with all types of things. So.
Yeah, and some people, when they start hearing about adding heat and whatever these materials, if they're new to these materials, they kind of get freaked out because they're like, oh my God, do I have to have ovens and this and that? And it's not like that. Like, just kick that worry down a notch, because ultimately, the thing of it is, these materials are designed to room at room temperature, but room temperature is an arbitrary number that we just sort of, depending on where you are, like I said, it could be mild temperature, but in some areas of the country or the world, there can be big swings. It could be 90, 100 degrees, and then next week it could be, down into the, 40s, 50s, or 60s and something. So that makes a big difference. So if you can control that and keep some consistency, if you're trying to pop out, a few dozen parts a day, in the case of this customer I was talking to in Florida, I go, this just eliminates a variable that you, as someone trying to, run a small business, you don't need that to complicate things, and that's ultimately what they ran into. So, that's one thing to think about. A lot of people who live in the, the northern part of the country or northern part of the world and whatnot, they're already past that. They've got heated shops, and they've got a lot of this stuff already in place because they have to deal with that all the time. Where some people who aren't used to quite that big of a swing of temperatures, like I said, they don't really think about it until it happens. So other than that, so yeah, I don't know. Maybe in the future we could do like a little kind of how-to on building a hot box. Because, like I said, I always hate having to turn people away. I'd rather say, hey, watch our video on such and such. But, we're slowly getting to build, doing more and more videos based on the requests and the common questions that we get. But that one does come up a lot. And I don't know, maybe we'll have to think about that. Give us some feedback. Give us a little extra push to make sure that's something we should be doing, because we definitely need that. So what's else? What else?
Nothing. I think we're going to go over some products here next.
Okay. And what products do we want to
Today,
chat about?
I was going to chat about our mold making kit in a box. Now, if you're already making molds and you're an established artist, you might not need all of these things. But if you're newer, this kind of tends to be the perfect kit because it's got everything that you need to make molds. So we're going to kind of do like a little unboxing.
And the magic of the internet, once this is sort of up and posted, we'll put a little link like here.
All right, so of course we include our product guide and some material safety data sheets for all of the materials in here. So we have some vents and some risers. All of these are acrylic rods?
Yeah, so 1/4 inch sort of acrylic dowels that have been sharpened, and these are what, if you watch our mold making videos, these are what we use for creating the vents so that the silicone molds around this, and then you pull these out, and then boom, you get a vent. Registration bars.
Some big pour.
These are these are to mold the pour fill holes where the pour funnel will go.
All right, I'm going to do the not so fun stuff first and then the fun stuff. All right. So we found that it's been hard for people to find just plain Jane straws, and either you have to buy like incredible amount of them, or they have like the little bendy thing. So we kind of sourced them. We got a good deal on them, and we have them so that you don't have to look for them.
And they fit. They fit the size well, because we've found some variations in straws.
Quick start guide that helps out a lot as well. All right, so now to some fun stuff. I'm going to start with the clay for when you're claying up your mold. Just some Craft Smart plastilina modeling clay.
Yeah. So this is an oil-based, non-hardening. You can use it over and over and over again. So when you're done with it, you can peel it off as long as it doesn't have a bunch of debris in it. Keep your ball. I've got some of these at home that I use that have just been around for a long time. It's safe with platinum silicones, tin silicones, whatever.
And if you scrape it good, you can reuse it many times as long as it doesn't have a bunch of chunks of stuff in it. Got some of these guys to make your pour funnels.
Yeah, so these are shown in the videos how to roll up and make your own pour funnel. A little bit of tape.
Got one of our non-wood stir sticks.
Yeah, mixing spatula.
Yeah. It helps to do the metal so that you don't have to deal with the moisture contamination. All right, so mold release. This is some of our favorite stuff.
This is pattern release. This would be for silicone to silicone releasing. So when you're making a 2-part mold of silicone, you don't want the silicone to stick the other half. Essentially, it's like Vaseline in a can, more or less, but it does a nice spray pattern as opposed to just brushing Vaseline on. So this stuff is good stuff.
My favorite, the high build primer.
Yeah.
That stuff will fill all of the holes, and it's sandable. It's awesome.
It sands great. It dries fast. It doesn't gum up your sandpaper. This stuff is about as good as you're going to get before you go to like a catalyzed like polyurethane automotive paint.
I love that stuff.
So,
all right, and then back to our glue that you used. Here's some Instacure and Activator. The all set. That stuff is awesome. You know, your run-of-the-mill CA glue, but BJB made our own brand. And then we also include the USB drive that has a ton of our videos on it. But you can also go to YouTube and see our full list. But this has a lot of the mold making videos.
yeah.
So yeah, lots of good stuff. Like I said, especially if you're new. I know I have, I posted in quite a bit of the 3D forums. So maybe people that are looking to take their 3D printed part to the next level and cast and stuff, this would be a good kit for them to kind of start off. And then all you need is the material after that, whether it be silicone or urethane or whatever. So.
Yeah, I mean, whether you're making like a simple one-piece mold but especially 2-piece molds where vents and the pour funnel and the registration bars come into play, you can make some fantastic molds, as you'll see in some of the other videos. That basically all these little items, it's like you don't have to really hunt and search for it. I would note too that we do sell these most of these individually on the website.
Yes.
So if you already have some primer or you already have some clay or whatever, you can just buy the straws, the vents, the fill ports, the registration keys, the CA kicker. So you can buy kind of what you need if you really need to. And then also you've got the clear coat over there.
I do have the clear coat. I was waiting to talk about the clear coat, but I can bring out the clear coat.
Well, we'll go to show and tell
It's
next.
our flexible coating, high gloss clear. That stuff's really awesome. And that will kind of lead us into show and tell. So I was struggling with what to do for my show and tell today. So I'm going to kind of show my prep for next episode's show and tell for the Christmas video. I was trying to figure out something holiday-ish to do, and this year we decided to buy a black Christmas tree for the first time. And so now I'm struggling to find cool ornaments. Can't necessarily afford to buy like a whole tree's worth of ornaments, so I wanted to make some. Most of the stuff out there is pretty cheesy. I just ended up going to the dollar store and got a few things. I got a tree topper star. This was originally had a ton of glitter and sequins and beads and ridiculousness. I don't know why everything has to be all covered with glitter.
Bedazzled to the nth degree.
So I sanded and peeled and prodded on it and got it down to the bare bones. And I did the primer because, again, like this is super thin plastic. I don't know exactly what they made it out of, but it's kind of garbage. But the primer helped really fill in all of those little divots from me jabbing at it and getting all of the sequins off of it. And then I clear coated it too because it was a little rough with that primer, and I didn't necessarily want like a super textured look in the final product. So I did the clear coat so that it would be a little glossy. So that'll be the tree topper. I wasn't quite sure, being that it's hollow, how we're going to go about molding this. I wasn't sure if we do like a rotocasting or whatever, but I'm sure we can figure that out. So I also got 3 different sizes of icicles. Luckily, with these 2 larger ones, they already were clear, but with the smaller one, of course, they ran out of the clear ones, so I had to get the glitter ones. So then I had to do the same thing and sand off the glitter, and then because I couldn't get it all off, I had to do like 5 layers of clear coat to cover up the glitter so that it doesn't end up in the mold, and that also I don't get too much of a texture on the final product. So my plan is to make 3, 4, 5 molds. Well, but anyways, with the icicles, individual molds that will have the multiples in there. So I'm hoping to have 4, 5, 6, 8, whatever in one mold so that I can just pour them all at one time. I have no idea how I'm going to do that yet, but Troy is going to help me out with that. Also got some snowflakes just in case, and yeah, I'll be all set. Now, the plan is that I'm going to cast it with our water clear, but we also have a friend sending us some glow-in-the-dark pigment that I'm super excited about. So I'm going to put that in there, and it's going to look really good, I think, with the black Christmas tree, because it'll be all glowy after I turn off the lights.
That's very ambitious.
Be kind of spooky, right?
I've never even heard of a black Christmas tree.
I know. I'm excited. Gothmas tree.
Goth. Yeah, it's very goth.
And
yeah.
Making my ornaments.
Ornaments? Mm-hmm. Yeah, this stuff is, this clear, we've always recommended like Krylon Crystal Clear, which you can pick up at a lot of stores still. That's a really nice acrylic, off-the-shelf type paint. Mm-hmm. But sometimes people will always had a hard time finding it, so we basically sourced out, SEM is they cater to the automotive repair market, and so we've sort of taken from the primer, because that's actually what some of our customer base from rapid prototyping and whatnot, they use the really high quality stuff. But honestly, these cans are worth picking up if you're going to be doing stuff like this, because after like a day or 2 of this stuff drying, and it gets hard to the point where you can sand it a little bit and like polish it, depending on the temperature. You can kind of sand it, like color sand it the next day, and then do like another coat. I've done that on several parts, and that works pretty good. But yeah, this stuff is really nice, and it builds up. I think it does build up a little bit of a heavier skin, clear coat, for what it's worth out of a can, than like the Krylon Crystal Clear. Mm-hmm. So, but either one works pretty good, Krylon Crystal Clear. And we also found that if you do coat a pattern with this, it doesn't inhibit the platinum silicones, which can be temperamental, given enough time to dry. So, cool, awesome. Yeah. Well, man, I look forward to that, because I might have to steal a couple icicles from you.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I've had my nose buried in the laptop all week editing, because I've got some videos going. We talked last time about the Form Labs Form 2 printer video, and with the skateboard controller, I showed that last time. So I'm kind of still, that one's a pretty involved video, so I'm still working on that one. So I don't have anything sort of actually BJB related for my show and tell, but I have something that I think is pretty cool. And actually, it still does kind of relate, because if you saw our video on the 3D printing molds, I built a quadcopter. And I used the landing gear were made out of BJB's foam. So I'm kind of, that's one of my hobbies, is to build a lot of radio-controlled type of aircraft and whatnot. So I like airplanes, helicopters, and quadcopters. So I got a really cool file from Thingiverse. It's called the Midjet 180, I think it's called. Anyway, you can kind of find it on Thingiverse. And I thought it was really nice and well designed. So this is going to be a racing drone, if you will. So this is a little bit smaller than a lot of the quadcopters I built in the past. So this thing's, I've been soldering everything to the board. Pretty tedious, but it's great. So I got the filament on this particular frame is PETG, which is a great, it's high impact. It prints really nice. This is Matter Hackers brand of PETG. So thanks, Matter Hackers, for the for the recommendations on what to get. This is their clear, and then this is like a translucent blue. And then I'd love to say that the props were 3D printed as well, but these are so cheap you just buy them and they're replaceable. So that's going to be my quadcopter. So probably another week. And this particular one is actually ABS. I kind of was proofing out some of the stuff. This was actually done on our Airwolf here, just when we had some downtime and the printer wasn't doing anything else. And so this one's ABS. But I have high hopes for the PETG because it's pretty high impact and it looks pretty cool too.
It does look cool.
So that's what I got. So I don't know. So no one's really chiming in chat-wise for questions. But, as this video sort of sits on YouTube, feel free to ask some questions below if you have any questions on some of the topics that we discussed, the cold weather, the mold making kit, any of the products, or maybe if you're curious about how to do something, we can do that. So I don't know what else we got going. What about in a couple weeks?
Our Christmas episode?
Yeah, we're
Holiday
affectionately
episode?
calling that the
Our holiday episode?
holiday episode,
Yeah.
Christmas episode. We've got, look at this, we're getting into the spirit. I mean, we went to the trouble of putting up lights. And,
We'll be wearing our ugly Christmas sweaters on December 16th for our episode.
Yeah,
I already
it's gonna
picked
be
mine
fun.
up. I'm excited.
That's good. I got a good one coming too. I'm really proud of mine. Yeah.
Also,
So-
we're still looking for guests for the show as well, whether current or former BJB customer. If you have some cool products that you've made with BJB materials, we'd love to have you come in, show it off, kind of talk about it, and maybe upcoming projects or whatever you guys have going on. But we'd love
Yeah.
to bring people in, and whether it's just talking about stuff, or we could even do like a quick showing how to make something, as long as it doesn't take up too much time. We could also do like the Food Network thing where it like just bring it out if it's already done.
the cooking show.
Yeah, cooking show.
Yeah, we can do that. We've got so many cool, like what I would consider kind of old school special effects people or mold makers or people who've been doing some different things. Yeah, so I mean, if you're kind of interested in, kind of reminiscing on some neat things that have been done, we're more than happy to work that out. So, yeah, you could be here.
You could
Or
be.
you could take my place. I mean, I can do some other stuff. I got some video editing to do. So, but no, we'd be happy to do that. But yeah, so the next show should be fun, and we'll let you know. We'll give you some heads up with maybe what the topics will be and stuff like that, and hopefully we'll have some icicles to look at. And
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm going to do for Christmas, for the
The holiday
theme.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway. But it's been great. We've appreciated you guys tuning in. And
he wants you to play the ukulele on the way out.
I should play you out? Okay, well, let's see. Let me see. How about... I got to find a good song, though. Let's see.
You've been practicing a lot lately.
I'm trying to find... Because my...
Something good.
Yeah, my I'm not going to sing. But, okay, well, I'll play everybody's favorite ukulele song. How about that? I'll do... Okay. Wait, where's my... And by the way, this ukulele, it looks awesome. It does play, but it's not as good as the one that I actually play on my little...
fancy one?
My fancy one. My actual from Hawaii
Maybe
one.
you can bring that one on the next episode.
Yeah, if I'm going to actually play. So, ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. You see, it sounds terrible. My hand's just slippery. You know the song?
It's pretty good. Yeah, I do.
Anyway,
That was my wedding song. Thanks for the memories, Troy. It's cool. It's a good song. I appreciate
song.
it. It is a good song.
I'm sorry you have issues with the song, but it's a great song.
I know. It's all right. It's not an issue. It's just memory jaunt.
There you go.
All right.
So, thanks again.
everybody.
Thanks for calling me out there. I'll do better next time because, like I said, I don't.
We'll bring
this
the
one's a
real
little
one next
tiny.
time.
I have big hands, so. All right, next time.
Thanks
we'll see
again
ya.
for joining us, guys. See you next time.